Hello there everyone, I'm Suzavile and today I'll be reviewing the Grey Havens of Lindon, henceforth known as only Lindon, for this Third Age Divide and Conquer mod. The realm of Lindon starts with many cities but no castles at all. They start with 5 cities and you may be wondering where's the 5th city? It's right here. So pretty much you will have a safe haven right there on this town. As soon as you can, please grab those units, of course. Now, in terms of the enemies nearby and the difficulty of those enemies, very easy enemies nearby. You will only have init weight and fairly long. They will take a lot of time to reach you, so no problem with that. The only problem with this campaign is that the objectives are really far away. Let me show you that so that you get the hang of it. You have to destroy the Shadow of Mordor and the Heaven of Umbar. So basically this is about the most difficult and long objectives that there is. You have to hold Umbar. Come on, this is so difficult. So this would be my guess, pretty much it's one of the conquests or one of the victory conditions that feels the worst. You have to defeat the faction that is over here. Let me just show you the whole map while we arrive. We haven't arrived yet. We have to cross the sea. And there we go. We have to hold these cities right there from Umbar. So even if you set sail right now, it will take you like what, 10, 12 turns to reach there? It's just so long. And after Umbar, you would have to deal with Mordor. So pretty much it's one of the hardest and very long campaigns that you will have to do. I honestly don't know if Mordor's campaign is even more difficult than this one, considering the beginning of Mordor's campaign. So they're relatively toe-to-toe, I would say. Paths to victory, therefore you have plenty. Considering the goal, you have plenty of options. You can go and rush and conquer everything of Third Age, or you can just go and try to rush on Umbar, or even go and try to assist Gondor in getting rid of Harad and Mordor. The choice is yours. Initial conquests, you do have some good initial land grab, a couple of good rebel villages everywhere, and some towns nearby, while you're trying to reach, your closest foes. And also, as you can see, you have in the diplomacy, you're allied with Breland and the Shire, with the Dwarves of Eredluin, and with the realm of Imladris, and you're at war with remnants of Angmar, which will probably never cause you any harm, considering the point where they are. So basically, it's a very good start, a very good position. It's a very strong one, and since you have no threats in the beginning at all. Let's check out briefly the overview of Lindon here. Now, they do have a little bit of lighter archer units in the beginning. Their low armor doesn't allow them to be used in melee. They have a little bit less than in Ladris, I would say, or for that reason, some of the other elven armies. They are fairly powerful in terms of attack. That is something that I would like to notice. More so than, for instance, in Ladris as well, and even Thranduil's realm, actually. So I would consider these let's say, the heaviest on attack. I would say that's the main difference from other elves. I would say, Father Swordsmasters 19 in attack. That's really big. Even Mithlon nobles are 1637. That's some pretty good stats right there. Of course, as any elven armies, they have access to the Elderwing archers, spearmen, swordsmen, and lancers, which are pretty much just the elite typed troops, but you have some good units that will, of course, offset those in the main grand set of things. You do have a special notice that I would like to add is the Lindon long spears, because they are available right from the start. They're very good against mounts, effective against armor, so your initial army will pretty much be a light version of everything that you need. Lindon long spears, swordsmen, archers, and some light riders. You have a version of every unit in upgrade bases. The only thing that you don't have is actually horse archers. That is a lack here on the Lindon army, but one that shouldn't be upset considering the high amount of archers that you have on the Sindar, the Teleri, and the Elderwind. In terms of units, like any elven army, you do have the version that I like to call the light elves. I like to associate Lindon with the light elves. By no means they are completely light. They're just lighter than most other elves. They eat less. Uh, and of course it is composed mainly of great archers and of great infantry, of course, in the Talari swordsmen and the Lindon long spears, as you can see right there. These are the initial units that we're going to have a very low rate of replenishment, as you can see here. Most units will take 17 turns after the very long list, and you have a time to recruit of 3 turns for a lot of your initial units. So pretty much you'll have some trouble fielding large armies. You don't have, well, you do have an extremely high upkeep, so you're not going to have a lot of luck with that. Even Lindon long spears cost you a lot of that. You may be able to offset with your finance details, but more on that on a little bit later. In terms of the initial army and the elite army, they're very powerful, both initial and elite, and they're basic upgraded versions of them. In terms of compositions, I would go with plenty of archers to win most battles, and a couple of cavalry just to pursue your foes. This will ensure a lot of victories against the rebels and any ended-weight armies that you will face in the beginning while going to your task. Of course, your elite late great armies will be more than enough to deal with whatever Mordor and Herat have against you. Of course, one other fact that you have to begin with is that you have the fleet on your possession. I would honestly disband I would honestly disband a couple of these ships because you won't need them so much, and that's a couple of upkeep costs that you can, avoid. Only one of them will be more than enough, and you can recruit a couple more anywhere if you need them. Even better ones, of course. So do that at your own leisure, of course. In terms of buildings, like most elven factions that you're going to see on my channel, what they do have is a lot of good buildings for income. They have not only the farms, grain roads, they have the mines, they have the sculptor's workshop, which does provide a lot of income. And since they are, a naval-based place, they do have the merchant's wharf. So pretty much you start with some good weak finances, I would say, but it will take a couple of turns to develop to be, to be fairly powerful. The best settlements would be, of course, your capital, and Lond Theron. Those should be developed the most, and especially in the beginning. Something that is a little bit offset is in terms of costs and time spent. You'll take a lot of time spent because, all of your units require their own building pretty much. You will need the practice range, you'll need the town guard, you need the stables, and you will actually need them if you want to be effective. You can't skip anything at all, I would say. So I would advise, since Mithlon already has a town guard, I would go with the stables on Londertharan and just use them for extra archers. That would be the deal for the beginning, and on the other cities, I would just concentrate on anything that provides trade. That would be my advice for you in the beginning. In terms of relation between castle and city, you don't have any castles to compare, but pretty much it should be a decent relation. But of course, many needed buildings, so probably you'll only conquer castles for some extra reinforcements, or you will only conquer castles, as it's the building, the settlement that it's in range that you want to take. In terms of agents, you start with none on one of the spots that actually requires the most agents. You need to check out what is over there. I would say that you either need like 5 to 7 agents to properly cover everything, and you should start sending one at least to the Gondor area just to make sure that you are aware of what's going on with Mordor. I would also love if you would send one to the Umba area just to start checking out. So pretty much 5 to 7 spies perhaps just to spot everything, just to spot this area, this area, this area would need 3 to 4. So don't just use a lot of spies. That would be the idea. Diplomats, of course. Diplomats will be in order. You should send one over to the east and another one over to the southeast. In terms of their uses, I would go for trades pretty much. And some map information would be in order. I would get map information, especially from your future allies. That would be something to consider when proposing alliances, of course. In terms of the best spots for everything, I already spoke a little bit of that, but for the diplomats or for the spies, I would honestly consider that this is a necessary spot. You will need to check on Minas Tirith until it gets conquered by Mordor, and then you have to check out how Mordor is doing, of course. For assassins, I would say just kill any general that crosses your path. That may be considered difficult. As you are elves, you don't have to fear any unit at all, so just be happy by killing some generals. It's time to resume the faction of Lindon. As you can see, one of the things that I hadn't mentioned, you have a 10-star and an 8-star general, and actually then a 6-star admiral, which was perfect as well. So pretty much on the generals, you have a very good relation or a very good start for your gameplay. You have a powerful army, as I've already shown you, but you don't start with a powerful army. You start just with some basic units. Pretty much you can field one medium army in the beginning with a couple of units added. You have a very strong position, one of the most strongest positions to start with, no threats at all, and of course one of the best points of this campaign is the replayability. You can play a lot of different paths. You can even betray the dwarves if you want. You have the time for that. It's no problem at all. And I would actually consider that because they have some valuable mines, huh? Wink, wink. But of course, if you decide to stay with the dwarves, there's by no means no lack of replayability on this faction. You can go against the orcs and then go down on the orcs of the Misty Mountains. You can go rush right the Inuit clans right here on the map. You can even then proceed to go into Isengard. I don't care. You have to conquer Mordor. It's going to take a while to do that. So take your time. It's a fairly long campaign and have fun with it. Of course, in terms of weak points, it is the time to victory. If you want a fast campaign, don't go for a Lindon campaign, pretty much. Finances, of course, and very overpriced units. I say overpriced because when you consider the cost-benefit, you know, you're not having the best archers at your disposal for the upkeep and recruitment costs that you get from them. So it's a very overpriced unit. In terms of generals, I already spoke. You have a perfect 10-star generals and plenty of minor ones. Some in terms of building, unit synergy, rush, tech options. That's where you actually have a good deal. You know, you can pretty much sit back and tech up or whatever you want because victory will take quite a while. In terms of synergy options, you have some bad ones because, well, you need a lot of buildings, so you can't build everything on every elven city. You won't have the money for that if you want to keep on the conquests. Time to victory, very long time to victory. Paths to victory, plenty of different paths. And in terms of overall review, I would say it's a long campaign, interesting different paths, and replayability. Powerful units, as you've already seen. And this is difficult to sustain many armies because of the weak finances in the towns nearby. I would say this is a fairly long campaign overall. That's the basic idea that I want you to have with this elven campaign of the Grey Havens of Lindon. I hope you guys enjoyed this brief overview. If you want more, just thumbs up this video. Thank you guys, and goodbye.